Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
Good evening and welcome to The Right Side on August 19th. We have a very special guest. We're going to kick off our gubernatorial elected official series here with the first of our candidates, Mr. Tom Leonard. So welcome, Tom. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being on our show and meeting with our people here.
Oh, thank you, Deb, and it's an honor to be here.
Well, we're happy that you're here. So start off with, just jump right in here. Start off, if you would, by telling us about your background. Kind of start with, stuff you did before legislation and et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Reader's Digest version, I tell people, I was a prosecutor, an assistant attorney general, a legislator, a House Speaker. I was President Trump's nominee to be the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Michigan. But most importantly, I'm a husband and I'm a dad. And that's exactly why I'm doing this. When people ask, why are you running? The answer is very simple. 3 reasons. Hannah, Thomas, and Danny. That's my 8-year-old, my 5-year-old, and my 1-year-old.
Awesome. So, and you're married. How long have you been married to the beautiful lady that I see you in pictures with?
So you would definitely ask one of those questions that would get me in trouble if I did not know. So we were married in 2010. So
okay.
Yeah. So 15 years, and in COVID got in the way of our 10-year anniversary. I promised Janelle we were going to go somewhere very nice, and then started running for governor. So the 15. So, when this election's over, she and I are going to go to. We're going to Italy or somewhere really nice to celebrate the 10th and 15th. That's
sure.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So tell me then, why governor? You've been the speaker. You've done some other things. So what about coming back and not going for attorney general, not going for secretary of state? Why are you going right for the top there?
Yeah. And I think the big question is, why am I doing this, in general right now? Because I've got a very good life. I've got a great job. Mm-hmm. I love spending time with my kids. But, it comes down to this. I look at the issues that are facing our state right now. I mean, the fact that the only state that Michigan beat for population growth over the first 2 decades of this century was West Virginia. We are 49 out of 50 in unemployment. We are bottom 10 for income growth, and we're soon going to be 49 out of 50 if we don't do something quickly. Less than 40% of our children can read at a proficient level. A quarter of our population suffers from some type of mental health issue, and half of them are not getting treatment. I mean, I could continue on with the statistics and the issues facing our state. And frankly, as I traveled the state, I did not see anybody out there that was issues focused, that was really tackling these issues head on with serious policy solutions, but most importantly, with a positive vision, because that's what we are going to need to win. So we jumped in a couple months ago, and that's what we are doing, identifying problems with real solutions and a positive vision.
Isn't it interesting? I'm going back to my early staffer days back in the Senate for Senator Jansen, Senator Mark Jansen out of Kent County, when as Governor Granholm was finishing up, and listening to Governor Snyder get elected, and he came in. And isn't it interesting that almost word for word what you just said about the numbers being, the bad numbers being high, the good numbers being low, and that's exactly what he was running on. So I find that interesting that we're coming again off of 8 years of a Democrat governor, and wham, there we are again. We're at the same exact problems that he worked on, and for the most part fixed. So
and policies matter. I mean, you just one specific statistic. I mean, a couple of years ago, as you know, the Democrats repealed right to work here in Michigan.
Oh, yes.
The day that law took effect, Michigan was 0.1% off of the national average for unemployment. Now we are 49 out of 50. Policies matter, Deb.
They do. They do, and it is very, very, very scary. You're right, Bob. Welcome, Bob. Thanks for tuning in. Save the state.
Thank you, Bob.
We've all been here before, or at least those of us have been around here. We are right back where we were. We're right back where we were, and so as a governor, Tom, how are you going to handle that budget? Do you remember how Governor Snyder handled it? He did all the big hard cuts at the beginning and then kind of built from there. How are you going to handle that?
Yeah. So one of the biggest issues that we have really been focused on in this campaign is government accountability and transparency. And within that, one of the biggest issues that I want to focus in on, and I think we've got to do this as a state, is go back to zero-based budgeting. Okay. So when I left the legislature in 2018, the state budget was $59 billion. It's now $83 billion. Now, as I go out there, I hear candidates and I hear people talk about doging state government. Okay, that's a great thing. But when you look at doging state government, that forces the legislature to go in and find the fraud, waste, and abuse. And the impetus is on the legislature. I say, you know what? Let's go to zero-based budgeting. So for your viewers, typically how the budget process works is you have a budget cycle. The following year, the governor just introduces essentially the same budget, makes some minor changes, and they build off the budget before. Well, that's how you go from $59 to $83 billion when there's more state resources in the coffer. What I've said is, why don't we just zero everything out, and let's have the legislature force the governor to come in and justify why every single line item needs to be in that budget. So what I've told my legislative friends is this: when I become the state's next governor, plan on working every day that first summer. There will be no golfing, there will be no vacations, because we're going to zero out the entire budget. We're going to have hearings, and I'm asking the legislature to force me and my department heads to justify why every single line item needs to be put in that budget. That is how you find fraud, waste, and abuse. That even goes further than doging state government.
I see. That's a good plan. Where do you have a kind of an idea of where there's a lot of, I mean, like an area of fattier fat? That I imagine there's all kinds of fat, but there's something off the top of your head you want to say, bam, that's going?
I think the big one, and it's not just the amount of money that's there, but it's also, the policies, or this idea of government picking winners and losers is within MEDC.
Yes.
I mean, just a couple of years ago, MEDC, the legislature appropriated over $4 billion for one department to pick winners and losers. That is just doling out money to certain select companies, and that is something we need to take, a huge, not just look at, we need to eliminate that. We need to completely redefine what MEDC does. They should not be doling out, money to picking winners and losers. And what I've said is, let's have economic development for all. We could take that $4 billion. You could, essentially eliminate the state income tax with it. You could rebuild. You could rebuild the state's infrastructure with it. And to me, that is economic development for all, not just for a few select companies.
No, that is good. And you know what bothers me most about MEDC is the lack of accountability on their on what's going on. They give money out. You're right. They pick their winners. they have nothing that says this is the winner. This investment was worth it. There's no ROI. There's no reports, or very few. And so it's just money being handed out without any kind of response or well, this is what happened. We've got this many more jobs because of this. We brought in this many more taxes because of this smaller amount. That just doesn't happen. So
and with some of these programs, I mean, the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, they released a study, I think within the last year, and what they did is they looked at 20 years of Detroit Free Press headlines. And these were promised jobs based on subsidies. And the promises over the course of 20 years, I believe, were 115,000 jobs, and yet less than 15,000 of them materialized, less than 10%. So no, I would start.
Are we talking back in the film industry
I would start
days
at,
when
I
they
would start
promised all
NBC.
that?
Yep, I would start at NBC. That's where you could find money right out of the gate.
Good. And what also amazes me, back when I worked in the legislature, when you were there, your roughly $60 million budget, half of that was DHHS. Now you say we have 80,000, and the way I understand it, half of it is still DHHS. How does that happen? Did we really? I mean, you take out COVID. You got COVID in there, but that money went away. So where's that money going? Where you got still half? I could see if it was over a long period of time, then growth. But to jump up like that quickly and still have half of it be DHHS. That would be, I guess that's another fatty fat place that you might want to check into.
You've got, and that was one of the reasons why when I was in the legislature, I voted no on Medicaid expansion. I mean, and I've told folks, I wish I had given a floor speech at the time, because everything that I believed was going to happen actually came to fruition. I remember when Medicaid expansion passed, we were told that the absolute ceiling, that we would never pass 470,000 enrollees on Medicaid expansion. And I know at the height, just a couple of years ago, we were over 1 million. I think we're just below that. But essentially, we have doubled what they told us that the ceiling would be. The other thing too, those that wanted to pass, they kept saying, well, listen, it's a good deal for us here in the state, because the federal government's going to cover 90% of it. The state will cover 10%. Well, number one, those federal dollars, they're still our dollars. I mean, they're still Michigan taxpayer dollars. But number two, and I warned of this, I said, listen, at some point, the federal government has to get their fiscal house in order, and that's where they're going to look. They're going to look at Medicaid. Well, what just happened with the big, beautiful bill? The Republicans and President Trump looked at it and said, listen, if you are an able-bodied adult and you are living in your parents' basement, or you're living in your grandmother's basement, and you don't have any dependents, you don't have children, you're healthy, you can go get a job, you can do community service, you can go to school, and you're not doing that, we are no longer going to fund your Medicaid. Well, guess what? Now the state's going to have to make a decision whether or not they want to fund that Medicaid for those individuals, because President Trump and the Republicans in Congress said enough is enough. You're no longer going to get free health care if you're an able-bodied adult.
Wow. Wow. I don't think I brought it back to the state in my brain. I thought they were just off. They were off, but you're right. The state can then.
And now the state's going to have to make that decision, and they should. I mean, if you are an able-bodied adult, you should either have to get a job, go to school, or perform community service if the government's going to provide your health care. But again, that was my point at the time. I said at some point, the federal government is going to start working on getting their fiscal house in order. And when they do, then the state is going to have to make some really tough decisions.
So as governor, would you back that, policy where able-bodied people have to work or get their Medicaid cut?
Absolutely, 100%. Okay. And when I was in the legislature, I always supported, work requirements. I mean, we can't just pay for somebody to stay home. And again, these are very, lenient requirements, if you will. Again, it's get a job, go to school, or perform community service.
I don't think that's unfair. If you got sickness or whatever. If you got sickness, or if you're you got a disability or something, that I guess that's a different story. But if you're able-bodied, you're right. Why? I mean, there's nothing owed to that person, and I don't understand why. So we have. Let me ask you this: what do you, Tom, bring to the table as a governor?
Yeah, I think, number one, again, the experience. I mean, I mentioned I was a prosecutor for Genesee County, an assistant attorney general. When President Trump had the option, when he had the choice to choose one attorney to be his top federal prosecutor to represent 4 million people in the Western District, I was the person that he called. These U.S. attorney positions, there are less U.S. attorneys across the country than there are U.S. senators. And again, in 2019, when President Trump had that nomination, he chose me. So, I've got a whole host of accomplishments as speaker. When I came in, something that the state had not done for, they had tried for nearly 30 years, they were never able to get done, was teacher pension reform. Mm-hmm. We were able to get it done under my leadership, but not just me. I mean, a lot of good people around me. I remember, and I posted this on my Facebook a few days ago, one of my top priorities was getting rid of driver responsibility fees. And I don't know if you remember those, but back under the Granholm years, and it was a bipartisan mess up, never should have happened. It was a money grab, but basically what the legislature and what Governor Granholm at the time did when they were facing a government shutdown, they wanted to get more money into the coffers. So what did they do? They identified like 20 or 25 moving violations and said, hey, if you're found responsible for one of these, you're not only going to get a ticket, but if you plead responsible, the state of Michigan is going to send you a $1,000 bill for the next 2 years. And if you don't pay it, we are going to revoke your license. It was nothing more than a money grab. And you want to talk about the real slap in the face with this? I saw this when I was a prosecutor. If the person wanted to pay the $1,000, they couldn't even go to their local Secretary of State's office to pay the fine or to pay the fee. They had to drive to the Department of Treasury. So you basically revoked their license and said, drive to Lansing to pay your $1,000. I mean, tell me that is not bureaucracy.
I think
just
coming and going there.
Run crazy. But what had happened is we had 350,000 people across the state, 75,000 in the city of Detroit, that had no hope of getting a driver's license. I would talk to police officers that would say, Tom, every person I pull over, they're driving dirty. They don't have a driver's license. So when I was a prosecutor, I witnessed and I said, this is wrong. And if I'm ever in a place that I can fix this, we're going to rectify this problem. So when I was House Speaker, I went to Governor Snyder and I told him, we went back and forth for several months, but I told him, I said, Governor, I not only want to get rid of these fees, but they never should have been imposed. I want to give every one of these individuals that owe these fees that never should have been imposed, I want to give them their driver's licenses back, give them amnesty, and just give them their dignity and give them hope and allow them to be able to drive to work legally again. And that was something we got done. So a whole list of accomplishments as Speaker. And I've in terms of the driver responsibility fees, I've said this, imagine Republicans electing a nominee, especially with Mike Duggan on the ballot,
who can
go into the city of Detroit and say, guess what? I was the one that was responsible. I made it one of my top priorities to give 75,000 citizens in this city back their driver's licenses.
Wow. Yeah. And is that fixed now, or are we still in a bad spot?
No, we did. We got rid of those fees and I still meet people to this day. Once in a while, they'll have, it's typically mothers who had a young, 20-year-old, 22-year-old son who was just buried in these fees and had no hope of getting a driver's license, that when my name comes up in conversation, they'll say, thank you. Right. I still remember you going to bat for my kid. Thank you for what you did.
Oh, good. Speaking of what will you fix, we have a question here. This is our local 2A guy here. Tom, will you work with the Republican-led House and Senate to roll back the ridiculous gun-grabbing laws passed by the Dems in 23 and 24?
100%, and that's why we need a Republican legislature in addition to a Republican governor. I'll remind your viewers, to this day, I still believe I'm the only legislative leader that was in control of a chamber when we passed constitutional carry. The Second Amendment, but most importantly, I tell people Article 1, Section 6 of the state constitution, I mean, it means everything. And, read Article 1, Section 6 of the state constitution if you haven't. It was written in 1963, and it makes clear that we have a right in this state to own and possess a firearm. So we passed constitutional carry when I was the House Speaker. Unfortunately, the Senate did not take it up, but absolutely, especially these I call them the home non-defense lockbox laws, if you will. I mean, this idea that you have to put your home safety, firearm locked up in a box. Somebody's breaking into your home, and you're supposed to remember the combination, find the key while they're kicking in your door. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. These absolutely need to be repealed.
Yes. All right. And Randy Guppy here, senior, says he's dealt with that money grab from a ticket from Randall Jr. and he said that was a nightmare to get fixed. I have Mr. Drick here, who was a lemon law attorney and an attorney that got people their driver's license back for many years. So he could probably tell you a story or two too. So okay, all right. Well, what personal strengths do you have, or characteristics, we'll say, but personal strengths do you have that'll make you a great governor?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm somebody that says what I'm going to do and do what I say when I get there. Again, going back to my time as speaker, when I was first elected, I had 3 top priorities. They were fixing our broken teacher pension system. We got it done. It was doing something with our broken mental health system. We got it done. It was continuing to expand the skilled trades here in the state. We got it done. But also, I'm one that has always pushed the idea of government accountability, but most importantly, holding me accountable. If you go to the first, so typically when the speaker is elected, the first thing they do after they're voted on by their colleagues is they take the rostrum and they give a speech. And my speech focused on accountability and that chamber holding me accountable over those 2 years. And this idea of accountability and transparency, when I became speaker, one of my first actions, I made certain that, and it got me in a lot of hot water with my staff, but I made certain that every single staffer that worked for the House of Representatives, that their name, their job title, and their salary was online, and that it was updated every month for every person to see. And for those that weren't happy when they would mention it to me, I would tell them, listen, you work for the taxpayers.
That's right.
If you've got a problem with this, go get a job in the private sector. If you're in the private sector, nobody has to see what you make. Nobody has to hear what you make. But when you work for the taxpayers, I believe in transparency. So that is something we're going to bring back as well when I become the state's next governor.
Yep, I remember that. I was one of those people who had their salary posted, so I remember that. And that was just fine with me. It didn't matter. So over here, here comes Jackson County popping in.
There you go. There's Russ. I love Russ.
Yeah, I do too. Russ is a frequent flyer here on the right side. We're always glad to see him here. And we have, thanks for showing it. We had another frequent flyer here, Joni. Is our LCRP volunteer coordinator, and she's going to be the one that gets walkers, et cetera, et cetera. She agrees. Able-bodied people need to have skin in the game. So thanks for that, Joni. Let's see. Oh, we got here the field for Republican candidate for governor. Deb always talks about having enough pieces of the pie. How many of the pie? Oh, he doesn't understand the pie. Let me tell you about the pie.
Okay, yeah, tell me about the pie.
I do training for first-time candidates and for trustees, school board, that sort of thing. And I start off by saying you may not be the best person for the job, but the most electable person will be the one elected, not the best qualified. And electable is you have to have a bunch of Drick election pie. And the Drick election pie is this. It's picture a pie, and each slice is endorsements, and it's history, and it is experience, and it is money, and it is message, and it is sign locations, and it is all these things. And we lay out this pie for our candidates. And then we work through the pie as we're coming up with our strategic plan for them. So Rob is asking, how much of the pie do you have? So what pieces of the pie are you real strong, in other words?
So when you look at electability, I believe we have a very strong argument. So when you look at all of the elections that I've been involved with, I believe our average outperforming the top of the ticket was 9% in all the elections. And that's when you average all of them. Some years it was 17, 18%.
Sure.
Now, in 2018, I ran for Attorney General. It was a very tough environment for Republicans.
Yes, I remember.
It was the closest election in the state that year. I think it was a 2.5% race. Mm-hmm. We outperformed the top of the ticket by 7. We won 6 counties that no other candidate won. I was the only candidate that won Macomb County, which, as you know, right now is critical. You have to win Macomb County. Was the only candidate that won Kent County, Saginaw County, Leelanau County, Eaton County, and Isabella County. All of those are must wins for Republicans in the state. Again, I was the only candidate that year that did that. I believe since 2018, I'm the only statewide candidate that actually has won Kent County. Now, the Kent County candidates have, but in terms of statewide, I believe I'm the only candidate since 2018 to win Kent County. And somebody also brought me this statistic the other day, which I found interesting. I'm still, since 2018, I'm the only statewide candidate that has won Macomb County without a gentleman by the name of Donald J. Trump being on the ballot.
All right.
And as you know, we are
Yes.
not going to have President Trump on the ballot this cycle. We are going to have to carry counties that he's typically strong in, like Macomb. Without him being there, we can do that.
Okay. So from my perspective, I guess if we're going to talk about pie pieces, well, you certainly have a name recognition. You know, people know who you are. You've got that experience. This is not a new arena for you, as it might be for some. I'm getting a postcard or a text or something every other day about another fundraiser for you. So you must be doing okay there.
There you go.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, the pie seemed to be filling up, Rob, if that's what you wanted to know.
The other thing I would
go
say
ahead.
too, you know, we've really been pushing this narrative. I mean, if you go to my Facebook, you'll see I posted a map of all the towns and cities that we have been in just in the last 2 months. One thing I can guarantee you and your viewers, we will not get outworked.
Okay.
We've grabbed a quote from Dan Campbell, who I love, and he's, you know, it's his vision that he's had for the Lions. We're trying to implement that same vision with our candidacy here, but it is, you know, we live to work, and I wake up every single day trying to outwork every single candidate that's in this race, because I know that's what it's going to take to win in November.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So, you know, you were a speaker and you had Lansing leadership experience. Going back to that for a minute, what would you do differently as governor that you did as speaker? And then consequently, what would you do? What would you make sure you did it pretty much the same way you did it? What might you do differently?
Yeah, one thing that I learned, and I tell anytime legislators come to me for advice, I tell them the absolute strongest branch of government in Lansing is by far the legislative branch. I mean, they are stronger than the governor. The problem is this: the only way that the legislative branch can be stronger than the governor and win every single time is when every one of them stick together. Because if there's any cracks, if at any point in the House there's not 56 votes to get something done, or there's not 20 votes in the Senate, then the governor immediately becomes the most powerful person in Lansing. What I would say is this: one thing I learned having been speaker and watching the governor and frankly sitting back in the private sector and watching the current governor, you know, despite all the bad policies that have passed, is this: the governor does have a bully pulpit with the media. You know, I heard somebody say, you know, I brought up right to work earlier. Okay. And I had somebody a couple months ago make the comment to me, you know, I'm worried under the new lines that right to work is never going to get passed again, because we're always going to have slim majorities and some of the Republican members are going to quote unquote need a pass. Okay. And I looked at the person and I said, that is absolutely unacceptable. This is a policy we have to do for our state. And those are the types of policies that if I'm the state's next governor, I'm going to put every ounce of ability or every bit of that bully pulpit that I can into making certain that we get those things across the finish line, because we've got to do it to turn our state around for our kids.
Okay. So you're not gonna allow that. I've seen that, you've seen that, the passes that happen, and it does happen. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
it's
I was
okay.
going to say, and I've got a history of this. You may recall in 2017, I was really pushing hard for an income tax cut. And it was something that I wanted to get done, you know, incredibly bad, or, you know, badly. And, you know, people have asked me, they're like, what is one of the most surprising things that you saw or you experienced when you were speaker? And I kind of chuckle and I'm like, well, I never knew it would be so hard to get an income tax cut through a Republican controlled House. And we started with this income tax, and unfortunately I had 12 members at the time that didn't want to vote for it. And we were working this issue till about 2:00 in the morning. And I remember going to them and they didn't think I would do it. So generally what happens is in the House is If the speaker doesn't have votes, they work it to the wee hours of the night or in the morning. They leave, and then what happens is there's never a recorded vote. Those members go home, they go to their districts, and despite the fact they were a no vote, nobody knows it. And their constituents are saying, hey, what happened with that income tax cut or whatever the issue is? And the member says, well, I don't know, the speaker couldn't get the votes. And I said, you know what? Number one, I believe in accountability. So all the no votes, we're going to hold them accountable tonight, and we're going to make certain that their constituents know where they're at on this issue. But number two, and even most importantly, if I would have left and not put that vote up, it would have been depriving all of the yes votes of a vote who really wanted to vote for that. So I remember calling all those members in. They didn't think I would do it. We put it up, we recorded it. And I can tell you, I believe every single one of those no votes that were involved in a Senate primary against a yes vote nearly 2 years later, it was the yes vote on the income tax that actually won that Senate primary. So again, just holding people accountable. This is what the people of the state want. They want to hold their elected officials accountable.
We're hearing that everywhere, just everywhere, from every different stop. So Randy wants to talk about a plan to change property tax millages to be voted only in November in even year elections. I'm not sure that's a gubernatorial thing. That might be more of a legislative thing, but what do you think?
It would take a legislative change, but absolutely. And I experienced this firsthand in DeWitt a few years ago. There was a group that wanted to put this massive library millage on the ballot. And I swear, Deb, it felt like every 3 months, and I might be going a little extreme here, but it felt like every 3 months, this thing was on the ballot. We were voting it down. And after the fifth or sixth try, it finally passed. So, I believe what Randy's talking about, because we've had some really good conversations about this, we need to pass a law to ensure that all millages are put on the November ballot in an even year when the most voters are going to show up to vote. None of this having to show up in May and August, or people work in the system to say, well, we're going to put this on in an obscure month when fewer people are going to vote. No, let's put all of these millage increases, let's put all of these millages on the ballot in the November election of an even year so that everybody has a voice.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds very good. That's the biggest, the biggest complaint about the property tax right now is that only a small people vote, or a small percentage vote.
Yep.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If all things were equal, all you candidates had the exact same amount of votes, and there was one vote left, what would it be about you that would tip that one vote your way?
I would say it is the positive vision, focus on solutions that we are running with this campaign right now. I've been very clear. What we are doing is we are taking the Dan Campbell approach. That's how you get things done.
Tell us about the Dan Campbell approach.
So when Dan Campbell became the coach of the Lions, and he stood there at that first press conference, he didn't focus on 3 or 4 decades of failure. He didn't cast blame. He didn't point the finger. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He just said, listen, we've got a program that needs help. And if we are going to turn this thing around, it is going to take a lot of grit, a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, and a positive vision every single day to get it done. That's what I believe it's going to take to get the state of Michigan turned around. If Dan Campbell could do it for the Lions, we could do it, but it's going to take the same approach. The issues that we face as a state, if we are going to keep our kids here, the issues that we face as a state are greater than any one person. We need a candidate that is focused on solving problems every day with serious policy solutions. And again, with a positive vision, not a vision focused on attacking other Republicans or attacking anybody for that matter. It's got to be focused on solving problems, because the problems that we face are bigger than any one person that's running for office right now.
And I'm kind of half smiling, and don't mind my smirk.
No, you're
I'm
okay.
smiling because those who have been through, we have some trainings that we do here, and I've gone through some conflict resolution trainings, and I always tell people, and you've said it well, I always tell people in the classes that fault and blame are the two most useless words in the English language, that if you're focusing on fault or blame, you're looking backwards. You cannot move forwards if you're looking backwards. Fix the issue. Figure out how to fix the issue. Don't worry about whose fault it is, and then everybody's happy. So you just said that a different way. It was great. So the solutions, your solution-based campaign is going to be what tips you over. And again,
having a history of getting it done.
Sure.
Decades, teacher pension reform. They never got anything passed across the finish line. We did. I mean, I'll tell you just a very simple one. When I came in as a freshman legislator, and when you come in as a freshman, you're not chairing.
What year did you come in?
I came in, so I was first elected in 2012.
Okay.
But I took office in 2013.
Okay.
Okay. And, you know, when I came in, one of the biggest things I wanted to get done was preliminary exam reform. Now, many are probably listening saying, what is preliminary exam reform? It is the first step in the criminal justice process. And what I found is as a prosecutor, we were pulling officers off the streets to come in and testify when they didn't need to. But most importantly, we were re-victimizing victims because we were continuing to drag them into court over this process. And I remember I had this young man, he was a victim of a home invasion. Somebody had broken into his home. And after the fourth or fifth time of being subpoenaed to come to court, the poor guy was in tears and he said, listen, sir, just dismiss the charges because I cannot continue to take off of work and be re-victimized every day. So I said, this is something we have to get done. And when I came in, everybody said, good luck, you're not going to get anything done. We've tried for 2 decades and no one's ever been able to get it across the finish line. Well, I wasn't taking no for an answer. It was the right policy. We had to fix it. Well, after weeks of working on this, I realized real quickly, the reason nobody ever got anything done, they were unwilling to take the district court judges and the prosecutors and put them in a room to talk about the issue and actually come up with a solution. We actually did that. And within a few days, they came up with a great solution. We got the reform passed, and it passed almost unanimously. I think there were only 2 no votes in the entire House. This was something that everybody told me we couldn't get done, and we got it done 108-2.
Wow.
FOIA reform. What FOIA reform in the House? I believe we passed that unanimously. So all of these big issues that people told me we wouldn't be able to get accomplished, we did it in a broad bipartisan broad bipartisan coalition. Some of the biggest issues, again, that folks said that we couldn't get it done. But also, as I mentioned, I governed as a conservative. We passed constitutional carry. We passed a bill to make English the official language in the state of Michigan. We passed a bill when I was speaker to mandate paper ballots here in the state. So we not only got big ticket items done in a broad bipartisan fashion, but I also was not afraid to shy away from those conservative issues that many Republicans don't want to tackle either.
I agree. I remember. Let's see some questions here. We have, what is your stance on American for Citizen voting? Citizen only voting, I think that's when you're talking about ballot initiative.
Yeah, this is the voter ID requirement initiative. At 100% support. Okay. And I mean, all Republicans should get behind this. I mean, I've seen not only is it the right thing to do, but I've seen polling on this. I mean, even the majority of Democrats believe that you should you should have an ID to vote. And one thing that I've said about this initiative and others like it, voting is a fundamental right. And when somebody breaks the law, you are not only breaking the law, but you are essentially taking away somebody else's fundamental right, because what you're doing is you're canceling their vote. That is not right. This initiative is important, and it is something that we need to get done.
Agreed. We're having a Thursday, by just to kind of let everybody know here. On that note, Thursday here at the Victory Center in Hamburg, we are having from 6:30 to 8. We're having a pizza party, and we've got ballots for that. We got ballots for everybody to sign. Stop by and sign. Better yet, stop by, pick up a ballot, take it, and get all your family and friends and neighbors to sign, and then we'll go and pick it up from you. So 6:30 to 8. You don't have to RSVP. Just show up, have some pizza, and sign a petition. That's a great petition to sign. All right, back here to Greg O'Neill. He is our lone Conway Township person there. To keep our young people in Michigan, the taxes and regulations need to be reformed and or eliminated. What do you think, Tom?
So you look at the top 10. When I'm the state's next governor, every single time a piece of legislation hits my desk, I'm going to ask one simple question. It's going to be very simple. If I sign this bill, will it help to keep my kids and your grandkids in this state? If the answer is yes, it's likely going to get signed. If it's going to hurt that process, it's likely going to get vetoed. So you look at regulations and you look at taxes, okay? I look at right to work as regulation, okay? It empowers workers when a state becomes a right to work state. Outside of Delaware, the top 10 when you look at the top 10 growth states in this country, 9 of the 10 outside of Delaware, right to work states. When you look at the fastest growing states, I believe it's 5 of the 10 have no income tax. So clearly being a right to work state and having no income tax in your state helps you become a growth state. On regulation, and we've been hitting this one really hard. I've said, not only do we need regulatory reform, but we also need occupational licensure reform. What if Michigan was a reciprocity state, where if you are certified in a trade in any other state, if you come here and you can show that you're certified, you can get a job immediately? I've got an uncle. Several months ago, he moved here. He married my aunt about 10 years ago. They lived in South Carolina. He was a journeyman electrician. He moved here and it took him 4 months to get a job because of all the hoops and regulations and fees that he had to pay, all the hoops he had to jump through. Michigan shouldn't just be the easiest place in the country to create a job. It should be the easiest place in the country to get a job. So we need occupational licensure reform as well. I mean, Deb, I'll give you just one anecdote.
Sure.
In November, and this is the mentality of Lansing right now, and this is why we've got to change this mentality and we've got to change this culture. So we have an affordable housing crisis in this state. In the last 5 years, your average home price is up $100,000 and your average rent is up 40%. Okay. Metro Detroit is the 8th worst place in terms of regulations to build a home. Okay. In November, there were 2 bills that were introduced. One would have mandated that for every 2 apprentices, electrician apprentices on a job site, there had to be 1 journeyman.
Sure.
They also introduced one that applied to plumbers. So it was a 2-to-1 ratio bill. Okay. Everybody that was in the trade said, listen, this is going to drive up costs. Number one, just because of the types of people we're going to have on the job site. But number 2, we don't even have the workforce. So you're going to take this affordable housing crisis and you're going to exacerbate it. Okay. In January, the governor signed the plumbing ratio bill, but the electrician one died. Why did the electrician one die? It died because the environmentalists came in and said, listen, if you pass this, we are not going to be able to build these thousands of acres of solar farms that we want to build across the state.
Oh, follow the money.
So look at this. So think about this for just a moment. The mentality in Lansing right now is this. There are legislators that would rather build thousands of acres of solar farms instead of affordable housing for people that need it. That is something we have to fix.
Oh my goodness. So on that note, let's just jump right into that. Let's just go right into the solar farms and the wind farms and everything else. What are your thoughts on changes there?
Restore local control.
No,
so that
thank
bill
you.
that was passed, that definitely has to be done. And then any type of subsidies for any of these, wind turbines, solar farms, gone.
Good.
Okay, we
Good.
should not be. There should be no state subsidies for any of this. I mean, frankly, if they're a good idea and it's the best way to generate power, let them stand on their own 2 feet.
Right.
Let the free market
Right.
take care of it.
Right. And yes, and out here we're quite the rural area, and we are prime pickings for those
Yep.
solar places, and we are having constant fights with some of our townships here over those things.
And it's just crazy. I mean, you look at in the state of Michigan right now, there is there's something called community solar. Okay, community solar is a much smaller scale. And again, just going back to this mentality, it's a much smaller scale of using solar panels. So for instance, if you had community solar in the state of Michigan, if Amazon built this huge 10-acre warehouse, they'd be able to put solar panels on top of the warehouse.
Sure.
Okay. Now, if you're going to have solar panels, isn't that where you'd want it to go? You don't want to take it up farmland. Okay. Yet community solar is banned or is illegal in the state. Yet the idea that we can put hundreds, if not thousands of acres of farms taking up, or solar panels taking up farmland is legal. It makes no sense.
You go down, is it Hagedorn and Jolly, where they have the big parking lot that has the big coverage of all this? That's where solar belongs. It's great. You get the sun, you get the solar, and it protects the cars. So how much better does it get than that? That's where it belongs. And I would support every single park and ride ever having those things. Why don't they put them there? I don't know. All right, so we have Gregory brings up another fun topic here in Michigan, auto insurance. Why do we have such high auto insurance here?
Yeah, it's and this is something that goes back decades. Okay, so the bottom line is this, and there was reform in 2019. Okay, and I know this isn't going to, it may not make a lot of sense, and it may not be what your listeners necessarily what they want to hear. We definitely need insurance reform. Okay,
sure.
Back in 2019, before that reform passed, okay, Michigan's auto insurance rates were so high that if you would have reduced them by 20%, Michigan still would have had the highest rates in the entire country.
Aye.
We are now, I think we're 6th or 7th highest in the country. So imagine how high our auto insurance rates would have been if that reform wouldn't have passed. Okay. So for decades, what happened was Michigan was the only state that required that for every insurance policy, you had to purchase an unlimited lifetime medical policy, on your insurance policy. Okay. But then there was also no cost control in the system. Okay. So you would go to a hospital if you were injured in an auto accident, and they would, swipe your ear with a Q-tip. It would be like $60. Okay. Because your auto insurance company, they had to pay the highest rates. They could not negotiate rates like a commercial insurance company. So the fact that it was an unlimited lifetime liability and you could spend whatever you wanted. So I would tell people, imagine if we passed a law right now that said, if your home burns down, you can build any size home that you want, and the contractor can charge whatever they want, and the insurance company has to pay it. Imagine how much fraud you would have. Imagine how many homes would burn down. And imagine how quickly your homeowner's insurance rates would go up. Okay. Right. In that reform, one of the big things that it did, which was very helpful, is it presented consumers with choice. Okay. So they could choose 3 different options. They no longer had to choose an unlimited lifetime liability. One of the big issues with it is they still left that high rate or that high fee in the first $500,000 when you go to the hospital. So there's really no negotiation of rates. So I'll give you just a personal example. So in 2020, okay, Janelle and I were in an auto accident. I wish I could tell you it wasn't my fault. I have no idea how, but I accidentally ran a red light and I was T-boned. And when we got hit, we rolled our car twice. Okay. This was during the height of COVID. We went to the hospital, and you got to laugh about this. It's sad, but you got to laugh. But we go to the hospital, and this was when the federal government was granting, I think it was 30 or 40% premium for all COVID patients. Okay, we walked in, and the charge rates for somebody injured in an auto accident are so high that when we walked in, and I told them I was injured in an auto accident, they not only put us to the front of the line, but they didn't give either of us a COVID test. Because I believe had we tested positive for COVID, they would have had COVID reimbursement instead of auto insurance reimbursement. So we were like the only 2 people in the hospital that had no COVID test. And within minutes, they were performing every single test they could on us. And the nurse came in and she said, "Sir," she goes, "I don't want to scare you, but just so you know, you're going to have a team of doctors in here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And for the next hour, we're going to be putting you through a bunch of tests." And I said, "Listen, I used to serve in the legislature. I know how auto insurance works. Right. And I know this is going to be a $30,000 or $40,000 visit before the night's up." So one of the things that we need to do is we need to put cost control into those hospital fees as well. If we don't, we're not going to be able to bring down those rates.
Boy, that's terrible. Yes. Greg here opines here that we need to eliminate no fault. What are your thoughts?
I would be fine with that. But again, I believe ultimately the reason that rates are so high is because of those fees that hospitals can charge when you go there. I think that's the biggest issue that we need to take care of, are those fees that you face when you go to the hospital when you're injured in an auto accident. Nobody can explain to me why, if somebody walks in and they've been injured on the job, or they were injured at home and they have a Blue Cross Blue Shield card, why that person should pay 5 or 6 times less than somebody who's injured in an auto accident. Right. It makes no sense.
Right. All right, another question here. Is there anything we can do about the Democrat-controlled state Supreme Court?
It's going to take years, and I'm so sorry, Deb. Who asked that question? I
Rob.
didn't see. So, Rob, I am so glad that you asked this question, and I think you ought to ask every single candidate running for governor, what is your plan to ensure that we can turn the Supreme Court around? Because listen, I could come in as governor. we could have a Republican legislature, we could pass the greatest reforms in the world. And all it takes is 4 Supreme Court justices in robes to throw out every single thing that we put together. And don't think that they won't. I mean, this is the same Supreme Court that just a few months ago decided that 21-year-olds, it was unconstitutional and it was cruel and unusual punishment to sentence a 21-year-old to prison, give them a lifetime prison sentence, if they were convicted of premeditated first-degree murder. Oh, and guess how they came up with this? They looked north to our good friends in Canada, and they started borrowing law from Canada. That's what they did. So don't think they won't throw out anything that we pass. So number one, we've got to make certain that our governor is able to put in the right appointments in the event that there's a vacancy. But second, we've got to elect a governor that understands the importance of the courts. In every single election cycle, they prioritize the courts and say, you know what? Yes, we've got to raise millions of dollars and we've got to put a huge emphasis on controlling majorities in the House and Senate. But you know what? That Supreme Court is just as, if not more important. We need a governor that's going to be on the ground every day. When you have a great candidate like an Andrew Fink or a Bill O'Grady that's running for Supreme Court, you've got to have a governor that's going to be out there campaigning with them every single day and raising the millions of dollars that they need to ensure that they can get across that finish line in November.
Oh, that's good to know. All right, another question here. What can the governor do to help expand nuclear energy?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we need a rewrite of the energy bill. And I'm glad you asked about nuclear energy, because it makes no sense to me why we don't have more of it in the state. So, I mean, we've got to expand not just the competition, but we've got to expand, the choices that are available. I say, let's bring everything to the table. If you really want to lower rates, let's bring everything to the table. And I have no idea why nuclear is not at the top of that discussion. It's not only the most effective, it not only produces the most power, but it's also, frankly, it's the cleanest.
That's what I used to work for a legislator that was on the Energy Committee, and that's what he was trying to push for. But of course, the current regime will not hear of it. So I don't know what this has to do with much anymore. Once upon a time, please share your stance on abortion was a mandated question. It's in the Constitution now, and it doesn't really matter. So, Tom, I'll let you.
I'm an unrepentant pro-lifer. I mean, I always have been, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, you may recall, Janelle and I tried for 5 years to have kids.
I remember that story.
And the doctors came in and they told us, they said, listen, there's nothing we can do. You better go through the adoption process because you two will never have children. And it was tough. And we started going through that adoption process, and just a couple days before we were going to put a substantial down payment on that adoption, we found out Janelle was pregnant.
Oh.
And we've had, we've got now have 3 miracles. And somebody said to me, they said, after one, it's no longer a miracle. And I said, listen, every child is a gift and miracle from God. We've got 3 of them. But you're absolutely right. I mean, with Proposal 3 having passed a couple years ago, that is part of the Constitution now. So what do we as pro-life conservatives need to do? Number one, we've got to make certain that we protect some of these issues, or some of these issues that Prop 3 was never meant to apply to. So, for instance, parental consent. Nobody can explain to me why, if a minor child needs parental consent to have any other medical procedure other than an abortion.
A tattoo.
And Dems are trying to take that away. We've got to protect our parental consent law. Did you know? I believe every single medical procedure across the state, if you have a medical procedure, there's some type of statistic that is logged, so that at the end of the year, how many people had cancer, how many kids had to have stitches, or what have you. Just last year, a law was passed to eliminate any type of reporting for abortion. So now Michigan is going to be, I think, one of 3 states. Abortions are no longer going to be reported. So, and I believe I know why they did that, because now that Prop 3's passed, you're going to have all of these women from other states are going to be coming into Michigan to have their abortions, and they want to avoid the headlines that we saw a couple years ago of Michigan becomes abortion destination.
Yes.
So we've got to protect, some of these, like I said, the parental consent law. But what we've got to do, and I know it's tough talk, but you know what? We as pro-life conservatives, we have got to go out there every single day and we've got to win the hearts and minds of people on this issue. That is how you're going to stop abortions in the state. We've got to change the hearts and minds on this issue.
And that's going to take a huge citizens drive. That is not part of a governor. Just to make it very clear to the watchers out there, this is not something the governor can do. Whether the governor's pro-life or pro-choice, going in, they cannot undo abortions. It's in the Constitution. It would take a whole nother vote by the people, and it passed by such a massive amount that would take a lot of work. So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
And it's there, just like the legalization of marijuana back in 2018. It was something that I didn't support, but you know what? It is in our state constitution, and there's no governor that's bigger than the Constitution.
No.
That's why I said we've got to protect some of those very important issues, but also, it's incumbent on us as pro-lifers. We've just got to be out there every day winning the hearts and minds. It's not going to be done through legislation.
Sure. You got to be, we've got to be able to talk to people that are thinking about an abortion and counseling them that there are other options. And that's really the way to go. But again, to your answer to your question, where's the lady's name? Angela, to answer to your question is it doesn't matter. There's no governor that can change it. It's in the Constitution. So I just want that really clear.
Another thing I was going to say, so one thing when it comes to pro-life, I believe that pro-life, this is one of the reasons why I've really been a proponent of mental health reform. I mean, if we're going to talk about being pro-life, it can't just be for the unborn. We need to be pro-life for those that are born, that are here, that are here walking amongst us. And that's why I've always been such a big proponent of mental health reform. Why is it that we should wait for somebody to hurt themselves or somebody else before we get them the help that they need? So I've always been a huge proponent of mental health reform in this state as well.
So once upon a time we had institutions that, mental health people stayed in when there were issues. And under Governor, before Granholm, I'm old and I forget.
Governor Engler?
Yes.
Okay.
I
know he was the one before Granholm.
Really? Yep. No, yeah, the one before Granholm. Sometimes a name just flies out the door, and it just happens when you hit 60, and nothing you can do about it. So, so under Governor Engler, he wiped a lot of those out and then implemented instead what we call the community mental health. I spent some wonderful years working under Mary Whiteford, who was a mental health. She was very focused on mental health reform, and I spent a lot of time working with her on those reforms. And I know it was the general opinion of the people we worked with that community health, mental health is not doing the job it's supposed to do, or it's not able to do the job. I don't know if it'd like to, but it can't because of regulations, or if there's too much problem and not enough people. It's sort of like DHHS social workers. There's just more problems than people, no matter what. Where's the balance? Should they go back to institutions? Should we get rid of community mental health and do something different? What are your thoughts?
I mean, we certainly should have left some of those hospitals open. I mean, there are certain people that are just, they're unfortunately the issues they face are so severe that they have to be,
and there are no beds
in a hospital.
There are no beds anywhere.
When you go to the Upper Peninsula right now, there is not one psychiatric bed available. That is a tragedy. I talked to sheriffs that have to drive inmates hours to get them the help that they need. Okay, so certainly for the worst of the worst, for those that are suffering the most, some of them may have to be in institutions. Okay, but there are also a lot of others that certainly
just need a short
suffer,
visit. Yeah,
not even a short visit. They might suffer from depression. Okay, and they're having suicidal thoughts. That doesn't mean that they need to be in a hospital. It just means we need to get them help. And I've been a big proponent of telemental health. Okay, so for instance, I've spoken to a company that for about $750,000, they could provide telemental health services to every veteran across this state.
Nice.
And it's 24/7 care. Think about that. A veteran that's at home, lonely, it's 2 a.m., they're suffering about a PTSD, and they need to get help. they could go online immediately and talk to a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist and get the help that they need immediately. And again, this is a company that can provide this. It's
Right.
$10 per person. They could do $750,000 in the budget to provide our veterans the services that they need.
And that's definitely needed. I'm gonna go back to your statement though about some of those hospitals shouldn't be closed. I remember trying to set up a hotline with Representative Whiteford and mental it was called My something or other, My Crisis or something, but it was it was supposed to be able to connect with help, but there's just no beds anywhere.
No.
So what do we do? Do we put some hospitals in to be able to handle those emergency cases?
Well, yeah, I'd say, well, certainly the investment into beds, again, do we need some psychiatric centers to be reopened? Absolutely. Okay. But you talk about just common sense reforms. Again, when I was speaker and Rep. Whiteford was amazing. She was on my mental health task force.
Yes.
I mean, you want to talk about just a basic common sense reform. Okay. There was no psychiatric bed database amongst the hospitals. They
Right.
didn't share information. Okay. So before I became speaker, it used to be if somebody had a family member that was suffering from an episode, they took them to a hospital and they didn't have a psychiatric bed, they would just say, I'm sorry. You'd get in your car and you'd just drive from hospital to hospital. Okay. One of the first pieces of legislation that we worked on created a statewide database such that if somebody went to the hospital and there wasn't a bed available, instead of saying, sorry, just keep driving down the road, they could say, hey, listen, if you go to this town, there is a bed available right now. We'll have them hold it for you. Go and you can get your family member the help that they need.
Yes, I remember that. That was that was huge because, but I also know there were a lot of them that it was too far. It was 5 hours away or whatnot. So it became hard. I often wondered about the feasibility of privatizing that sort of thing. I mean, rather than the state having a state hospital, like why not privatize it? I mean, if there was an adequate funding for that, I don't know, just
all things need to be on the table.
Yes,
But I will tell you,
yeah.
when it comes to mental health reform, Deb, I think the biggest thing, as I mentioned earlier on in this podcast, a quarter of our population suffers from some type of mental health issue. Half of them are not getting treatment. Why is it that half of them are not getting treatment? For many of them, it's because of the stigma that's attached with somebody that's suffering from a mental health issue. We've got to get rid of the stigma. No one should ever be ashamed. I say, if today you were diagnosed with diabetes, nobody would ever be ashamed of that. You'd go to your pastor, you'd go to your friends, you'd say, listen, I need help. Will you pray for me? Help me get through this. You would change your eating habits, whatever it is you had to do. But a lot of people that are diagnosed with a mental health issue, they are so scared and they are so ashamed they don't tell anybody, and they're not getting the treatment that they need. So we've got to get rid of the stigma that comes with suffering from a mental health issue.
Okay, nice little happy hello there from Kelly Powell. Welcome to Livingston County.
Hey, Kelly. Kelly's my buddy.
Let's see. So we have here our Article 1, Section 6 is in the Constitution, but I still have to pay for a government permit to have my coat cover my pistol.
And that's why I support constitutional carry.
All right. Well, that was quick.
Who was that? I'm sorry. Is that Greg?
That was Greg, yep.
Yep, Greg, I agree.
Greg goes, will you fight against CBDC and digital ID?
What is digital ID?
That's a good question. I live with the man. I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't.
Jay, come on, get to typing there. Do your two-finger thing. All right, he'll come back to that.
Okay.
All right. I was hoping you would know.
Okay, I'm sorry, Deb. I don't. I apologize.
Yeah, he reads stuff he reads all day long, and then he comes up with stuff I don't know. All right. Then we have something about line 5 in here. I saw it. There we go.
Yep.
Had it not been for Whitney and Nestle, the Line 5 tunnel would be up and running.
Greg's asking all the good ones. That was another one on my way out. On my way out as speaker, one of my top priorities was passing legislation to create the framework so that we could build the Line 5 tunnel. We got it done. And unfortunately, because of one activist attorney general, that tunnel still has not started yet.
Oh, wow.
If somebody truly cares about the environment, they would want that tunnel to be dug.
Heck yes.
65% of the propane that's used in Michigan's Upper Peninsula goes through that line. If that line is shut down, thousands of our friends, citizens, family members, residents in this state will not be able to heat their homes. We can protect the environment and continue to heat those homes. It starts with building the tunnel. It needs to be done immediately.
Okay. All right. So got Rob asking another good question. What's your plan to fix our public schools? That might take a few minutes. There's a whole bunch wrong there.
So the biggest thing right now that we can focus on is third grade reading and third grade reading scores. And I say look no further than Mississippi and the Mississippi Miracle. 10 years ago, Mississippi was 49 out of 50 in reading scores. They passed the right reforms, and within 10 years, they went from 49 to top 10 in the entire country. And I like using Mississippi because Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the country, and they spend far less on education than we do here in the state of Michigan. So with the right reforms, you can do it. What did they do? Number one, early assessments for children in kindergarten, first, second grade. They have to have 3 assessments per year, and they immediately identify which of those children are falling behind. Second, targeted support. So when they invested in high quality tutors to put into the classrooms to assist the teachers, because if a teacher has 25 or 30 kids in a classroom and a kid's falling behind, they can't get them the help that they need. So high quality tutors. Number 3, they drew a line in the sand and they said, you know what? Kids spend the first 3 grades, so kindergarten through 3rd grade, learning to read. And then after you pass the 3rd grade, you read to learn. If a kid can't learn to read, if you just pass them along and they drop out because they're illiterate, as a former prosecutor, I can tell you, you've created a pipeline to a prison cell. Yep. Okay. So Mississippi drew a line in the sand and they said, you know what? If you're not proficient, we're no longer just going to pass you along. You've got to be held back. But the last thing, and most importantly, they empowered parents and they made them part of this process. Better communication. They provided more services for tutoring at home. They made certain that if the child needed summer school and they had to have tutoring throughout the summer and the parent had no transportation, the school would ensure those transportation services. I believe that the foundation is 3rd grade reading. Michigan has some of the worst scores in the entire country. Less than 40% of our children can read at a proficient level. This is something we've got to fix. That is the foundation. Another one I would say is merit pay. I would love to live in a world where Michigan has the highest paid teachers in the country, but not the highest paid just because they were there for 1 extra year and they got a step increase. Let's get rid of the bad ones and let's reward the good ones. If you are one of the best teachers, you need to be rewarded. And if you're one of the worst and you're not improving, you need to be fired. Merit pay.
That's terrific. So Randy agrees. Absolutely encourage that the parent participation. Yes. And now you and I are going to feel stupid here. Here, Lisa understands what Jay does. Lisa, explain my husband to me, please. No digital ID, i.e. biometrics to assess airline transportation banking. Here's Jay with a little bit more typing. Digital ID is electronic surveillance and control of persons' access to banks, airports, trains, employment, hospitals, just like China's social credit system to punish you if you text about the government or attend church or buy too much CO2 producing products. That's a big chunk here. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. What do you think of digital ID? Do you have any thoughts on digital ID?
So without researching and based on what Jay is saying, I would say scary stuff.
Yeah, very scary stuff. Jay's running an expo this Friday. This is the 9th or 10th one. It's the Family Readiness Emergency Expo. He's really into the prep. Be prepared for any emergency. So he looks into that stuff all the time. So all right. Well, as much as he can say, Jay, it's scary, and that sounds good. Greg agrees. Dumping money into schools isn't the answer. He likes your position. And Randy, award teacher for jobs well done, not for length of time served. Amen there. And then Jay is scaring Randy.
Jay is starting to scare me too.
Yeah, I know, me too. I gotta go home now and say, what are you doing? All right, so you think Jay, from now on, before you ask questions, you have to run them by me before, so at least I know what you're talking about. All right, so let me ask you, just take a second turn here. Okay. Talk about, not about him, but about what Mike Duggan running as an independent, what do you think that's going to do? How are elections next year going to be different because of that?
Yeah, I believe, listen, Mike Duggan, so first I'll say this, full disclosure, he's somebody that I've worked well with on issues when I was speaker. He's somebody that I consider a friend. He's an acquaintance. I like the mayor, okay? But the bottom line is this, the mayor is not an independent. He is a Democrat.
Right.
When the media finally asked him, where can you name us one issue where you break from the Democrat Party? His response was, I don't hate Donald Trump. Okay, to me, that's just being a decent human being. That is not a policy issue.
Right.
Okay, so the mayor would never sign right to work into law. He would never expand school choice. These occupational licensure laws that I was talking about, I mean, there is no way he would expand occupational licensure in the state of Michigan. He would never go to zero-based budgeting. Okay, I mean, there are several of these issues that I don't believe the mayor would ever support. So ultimately, I believe that as the electorate gets educated about the mayor, they are going to see that he's a Democrat. And that's why I'm very hopeful heading into this next election cycle. I think we've got a very unique opportunity, but it's also going to be nominating somebody who can go toe-to-toe with the mayor in urban areas as a Republican. So I mentioned driver responsibility fees, but guess what? Also, when I was a prosecutor, Michigan had one of the most restrictive and strictest expungement laws in the state throughout the entire country. Okay, so if somebody had been convicted of 2 crimes, they could never get them off their record. Okay, and once somebody had done their time, as long as it wasn't something violent, as long as they hadn't touched a child, I said, hey, let's allow that person to get that off their record and be able to get and obtain lawful or gainful employment. It was my bill that expanded expungements in the state of Michigan. Imagine nominating a Republican that can go into urban areas and say, listen, I not only fought to give you your driver's licenses, I fought to ensure that you could get jobs. So it's going to take also nominating somebody that can go toe-to-toe with the mayor, and I know that we can.
Okay, good to know. To me, it is scary to see how many Republicans are saying they're going to support Duggan. And my question to them is always the same thing. Show me one Republican or one Republican policy he supported that, as you said, broke from his Democrats. And they can't. All right, I'm waiting. I'll wait.
And like I said, I don't hate. Somebody saying I don't hate Donald Trump is not a policy issue.
Heck no.
It just makes you a decent human being.
That's right. But nor did he say he liked him or supported him.
That is true.
He did hate him, so let's be careful. Okay, we're back to the Jay show here. Kelly wants to know if you're talking about the social credit score. Okay, well, we'll let you figure that out. All right, you told a story one time I heard about, when you were prosecuting somebody that you believed was innocent, something like that. Will you tell that story again? I remember it. I heard it.
Yeah, so, as I mentioned, was a prosecutor in Flint for 3 years. And I often get asked the question, like, what was the biggest case that you worked on and how many years did that person go to jail for? And my response is always, we worked on a lot of those big cases, excuse me, but the biggest case I worked on, or probably my proudest moment as a prosecutor, wasn't one where we put somebody in prison, but was actually one where we kept somebody out. And I had showed up to the courtroom one day, and this young man had been charged with 3 10-year felonies, three counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder. And what he had done, he was at he was at a bus stop in the north end of Flint, and he shot these 3 young men with one of those high-powered pellet guns. And he messed them up pretty badly. I mean, they had to go to the hospital. They had to have, medical attention. And I show up to the court hearing that day, and his defense attorney said, Tom, if you'd be so kind, he said, would you go back to the holding cell and would you spend some time with this young man? I went back there, and Deb, I was there for an hour. And this young guy is just crying. He's 17 years old. And he said, sir, I don't know what to do. He said, everything in that police report is 100% true and 100% accurate. He said, the one thing that is not in that report is that I did this in self-defense. These 3 attacked me. I thought they were going to kill me, and I shot them in self-defense. And I don't know what to do because it's 3 people versus 1, and I'm getting ready to go to prison for the next 10 years, and my life is going to be ruined. For whatever reason, there was just something in my heart. I believed this young man, and I got an adjournment. I went out. I told his defense attorney, let's take some time. I had my officer in charge I asked him to go to that bus stop, and I said, Rod, I know you're overworked. I know you don't have a lot of time, but please go there one last time and just figure out if there was any video surveillance. A few hours later, he came back to my office holding this DVD, and he said, Tom, you're not going to believe it. Everything that young man said was 100% true. We put that DVD in my computer, and there it was. These three men had attacked him, and everything he did was in self-defense. Within an hour, we had him out of jail, and we had the other three arrested for falsifying a police report. I tell that story because as I travel the state, we've mentioned all the problems that are facing the people of this state right now, and people are suffering. They are hurting. They feel like they're getting behind every single day, whether it be with property taxes, whether it be their incomes not going up quickly enough, not being able to find the right job, their kids leaving the state for better opportunity, the fact that their kids are not getting educated because our public schools are so bad. And what they want is for somebody to travel the state, listen to their problems, identify the problems, and then bring real solutions with a positive vision to the table to turn things around. And that's exactly what we did that day. It took us working together as a team. We identified the young man's problem. We brought real solutions to the table, and we got to work. And I believe that is exactly what the people of the state want. And that's what I'm going to do as I campaign over the next 15, 16 months, whatever it is. And that's what I'm going to do as the state's next governor. We are going to listen to people. We are going to identify problems, and we are going to bring real solutions with a positive vision to the table every day. Again, the Dan Campbell approach. That's how we're going to turn the state around.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else we're going to close out here? I think we've got our questions are drying up. They're more about Jay than they're about us anymore. So that's
God bless Jay.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to sit there and get explanation. Oh, goody. Here we go. For 30 years, a driver with a suspended license and need a mercy license to and from work to pay the house payment and kids' food and medical bills could go to local circuit court for a mercy license. Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right. Well, we have I want to make an announcement here that I'm really happy that Tom came tonight and that everybody got to talk with him, or get his questions answered.
How do they do it?
I'm getting there. So I got Rob Kivitzing over here telling me what I should be telling you. So first thing I'm going to tell you is that on the 17th, September 17th, here at the Victory Center, we are going to have an in-person meet and greet for Tom. We are doing that with all our candidates. If they've been on the podcast, they get a meet and greet here. So on the 17th of September, we're going to have open house here from 6 to 8 featuring gubernatorial candidate Tom Leonard. So please come, and it'll be on Facebook, and we'll put a flyer out, and you can put a flyer out, and everybody puts flyers out, and we'll do a mailing and everything else. Randy, I'm sorry, you're not going to be allowed to watch a show anymore if you don't come. So just get that through your head. So all right, we're going to have you here. So, and then the second thing is what I need to know, and our good friend Tyler here, who's my helper, is going to type in. Where can people either email or we got a website where people can look for more information?
Absolutely. www.tom, Tom4FOR. No, FOR.
No
yep,
number.
Just Tom, FOR. Yep, you're okay. Michigan.com. And feel free to go there, look at our intro video. I was really proud of it. It's very family focused. Again, we're doing this, for not just my children, but children across the state to keep them here. Love the intro video. But you can also see, you go to our issues page, you can see that I'm somebody that wants to do the job. We are focused on real policy solutions. And I believe you will see that if you visit our website. Again, please go to it, tom4michigan.com.
Jay will show up on the 17th.
All
so
right,
have your digital ID knowledge ready. So yes, we'll have that. We'll show that up here again before the end of the day. So, and I assume there's a place there to contact if they have questions, etc. on your site.
Absolutely,
okay.
They can contact us. They can request petitions to help us get on the ballot. They can contribute. They can see our policy agenda. It's all there.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again for coming. Remember, on September 17th from 6 to 8, be here in person to meet Tom, and we'll have goodies and beverages and good conversation. You can get all your questions answered. So, all right, stay tuned. We're going to bring back Rob Rodriguez. He's going to talk about the Emergency Expo this weekend and the well-loved, well-supported 2A Day on September 13th. So we'll be right back.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why? Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Oh, well, I'm not
Who
playing
is
now.
that
We're back.
guy? What?
I forgot about you. I forgot how much fun we had.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
so glad
yeah.
to
Oh
see you
yeah.
back.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad to see you back. Yeah.
It's good to be back. Now, I know you want to talk about certain stuff,
I
but
do.
I want to brag just a little bit here, okay? First of all, Deb took over a big task, and not only did she keep whatever it was that I got started, she turned it into a race car. Everybody would agree. And chime off, everybody who's online right now, chime up. I mean, let everybody know. She is really turned... Well, I'll say that I had a sedan. I created a sedan.
You did.
And
you
you
created a hot rod.
You turned it into kind of a Ferrari.
Get
so,
it?
I mean,
Hot rod?
Yeah, I get it. It's a
I know.
hot rod. Get it? What? Okay. Anywho, so Deb, just this last week, you've had a lot of challenges. Some turnovers. Some vice chair quit or something like that.
Yeah.
And,
What was
and,
up with
and a
that?
couple other positions, but the whole process wasn't drama. It wasn't, nobody freaked out about it.
Nope.
Everybody just got involved and picked up a piece of the pie, started running with it.
I was shocked, and I wasn't shocked.
No,
I was,
you weren't
I was
shocked.
pleasantly surprised. I changed it.
Nobody who is involved with how your day-to-day operations is surprised at what happened.
Well, what
You're
I was,
doing
what
a
I was
great job.
pleasantly surprised
Okay,
was.
this is where you're gonna just a second. Okay, so
I'm
this
trying to
is
change the
so
subject.
Deb, you've done an amazing job, not just with this podcast, but you've done an amazing job with our party. And how long? 8 months?
No, it hasn't even been that long. It's been since March.
No, 8 months.
April, May, June, July,
You've
August.
been chair since.
Chair. Yeah, 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you've done a great job with the chair position. You've opened up new avenues for us to look at. And you've got different counties looking at this
Mhm.
podcast and saying, hey, maybe we can do something with
Oh,
that.
and they know I'll help them anytime.
And you know what, 2026, you're going to be coming out strong. So that's
Well,
great.
and again, I keep saying, I've said, I've had kind people say nice things, and I say the same thing every time. It's the team I've got. It's not me. It's the team. I've got a great team, and what I was gonna say, or I was trying to change the subject with, is I was pleasantly surprised. Except surprise wasn't the word. It was just pleasant to see how fast people stuck their hand up when an opening happened. The people that have left have either left because their life changed. We had one member travel way more than he could not stay on the EC. We've had people leave for reasons that, very legitimate, that had nothing to do with the party, and they were not happy about it. But each and every time, we didn't have to go on a search. As I announced, somebody would stand up and say, I'm interested in that, every single time. So, that to me is a sign of a very successful team. And we have a great team.
And you know what that means?
What does it mean?
You're doing a really good
It means
job.
we have a great team.
You're doing a really good job.
It means I got great
I'm
people
gonna
behind me.
toot the Deb horn just for a second. She's doing a really good job.
Thank you, Rob.
And
I
I know
appreciate you
how
think
I
so.
know when you're sitting in that seat how hard it is for you to take adulation. But you deserve some.
Well,
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
so-
good team. Now,
yeah.
on that note,
Yeah.
I will say, Angela has some family things that she's got to put a lot of time
Yes.
in. Not necessarily horrible things.
By
but
the way,
just-
the Yarbers,
they're
incredible family.
people. Yes, we
I
loved
mean,
having them.
You had one of the kids on,
I
and
know.
she's even incredible. So I mean,
Yes.
one of them are going to be president. We don't know which one.
I know. I'll work for
Yeah.
whichever one does. So
Ooh, that'd be good.
that would be good.
I will be the moral support
All right.
advisor for the Yarber president.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, but great couple.
Yeah.
But they have some situations in their life that's just gonna take time. So,
Yeah.
family things. So,
I get it.
Yeah, I know you do.
I
You
get
had to
it.
do
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it happens.
and we get it too. So, but having said that, that means, we, Alex stepped down as our finance chair. He's going to remain on the finance
And you got
committee.
somebody just
Thank
like
you.
that.
Well, yeah, just like that.
Yep.
So, what we didn't get just like that was a secretary. So, anybody interested in serving as a secretary, please reach out to me, chair at LivingstonRepublicans with an S.com, and there's Tyler typing it in so we can put it on the screen. Just send me your thoughts. We'll have a conversation. I'll tell you exactly what's. It's the record keeping.
Yeah.
That's got to be. That's got to be. That's the most important thing there, record keeping. You don't have to do a whole lot of speaking in public or anything like that. Just you got to be able to take notes. You got to be able to keep records. If you can do that, we would love to have you be on my executive team. And
An interesting thing. You don't absolutely have to be part of the executive committee in order to be the secretary.
That's right.
So you could be a Republican at large.
Yep.
And you could fill that spot. And
I'm not even on the executive committee. I'm the chair. So
yeah.
you don't have to be. To be an officer, you don't have to be.
Mhm,
So if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, and you want to do something to kind of help us, and maybe you don't want to knock doors, maybe you don't, maybe there's just, but something like this would be up your alley, please reach out. Let's have a conversation, okay? All right, so that's all the other stuff, and then Lisa R here is gonna shoot me if I don't talk about this. Lisa,
Oh, yes, very
Lisa's
good.
our fourth Thursday person, and I believe we are doing our fourth Thursday. That next Thursday, that's a week from this Thursday, we are going to be at Bliss and Fish. Lisa, am I correct? We're going to be at Bliss and Fish in Pinckney. That's a newer restaurant that just opened up this year, I believe. And it's kind of right where the park is. I don't remember the restaurant that used to be there, but near the police station.
Okay.
It's on the west side of the park, right on M36, right on the corner there. And we're going to be there at 6. Yes, she's just confirmed. Yes, that's where we'll be. So 6 o'clock, if you want to go there for dinner, and then sometimes people come at 7, from 7 to 9, and just have beverages and, just have conversation. But it's a very, very good, nice, relaxed, conversation where you're amongst good friends and good laughs and everything else. And Lisa says that they've been very supportive of our candidates. So that's good to know. That's good to know.
very good.
We had another, the Mexican place we went in, I don't remember the name of it, but over there by, in that plaza,
Yeah.
the shopping plaza
Yeah.
in Heartland was also conservative. So
Oh, thank
that
God!
was-
I thought you were going to tell me they weren't. I was
No,
saying,
they
man,
were.
that's
No.
my brothers. That sucks.
No, you're good.
Okay, good. All right.
All right. So Rob, why
Yeah.
the heck are you here? Tell us about why you're here.
So I have probably the most interesting presentation that's going to happen at the Emergency Expo.
All right.
Yeah, it's the anatomy of a prepper. But what I really want to do is I want to talk about the Readiness Expo.
Okay.
Everybody thinks that they don't need to be prepared for anything. But the reality is that we've seen a lot of massive flooding. We've seen a lot of problems. And you know what? What happens, folks, when your power goes out? I already know because I hear you blatting on Facebook when your power's off for 2 minutes. Okay, so even with our power off, you know, we feel stranded. We seem powerless. And the Emergency Expo is a way for you to get some of your power back. It's the idea of just preparing for an emergency that's definitely going to happen. I mean, our own Sheriff Murphy, a couple of years back, he said, prepare for an imminent threat. He didn't know what, but it was coming, and we all need to be prepared for it.
Right.
So, and this is not anything new. We saw a couple of sheriff's videos go viral saying pretty much the same thing. So we know that we're going to have either a man-made disaster or we're going to have some kind of other disaster. We, as Livingston County and anybody else watching this, we need to decide, are we going to be victims or are we going to be providers for our families?
Sure.
And so it's really simple. I mean, you can do canning. I know there's quite a few canners out there that are super awesome, Joni,
Right.
and they're really good at putting together canned items. And then there's people who know how to prep with freeze-dried foods. I mean, they've got those dryers and things of that sort. Some people can make jerky. Some people know how to make leather, different things out of leather. Some people know how to blacksmith. These are things that we need to get involved with. I have quite a few different hobbies. How I got involved with prepping was that all prepared. Yeah, Jeff.
Greg,
yeah, Greg,
you're doing good.
You're
With your
good,
peanut butter
man.
cookies. All right,
Girl Scout cookies.
we all know where to go.
We're good. Yeah. So, but when we run out of those Girl Scout cookies, we're going to need something else. So, you know, sometimes we go to, you know, we need to look at different ways that other people are prepping for different things. Yeah. What about the toilet? The toilet paper scare?
I know what she's getting at. I know what she's getting at
What's she
because
getting
I
at?
told her a story. I think.
Okay.
The
Hey, can we wait? Can we say it online?
Yes, we can. So
Okay.
here's the deal. Just so you know that this readiness thing, this is the brainstorm of none other than Jay Drick. This expo. He is a prepper. He's a prepared person, and he likes to prepare for things.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about emergencies and things, it can be the power out. It can be a physical threat. It can be, if you remember some years ago, we lost power on the whole grid.
Yeah.
I mean, so it wasn't just something that just
It could be
happened.
Red Dawn.
Yeah, it could
It
be.
could be Red
It could be
Dawn.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, COVID was a disaster.
It was.
Do you remember nobody had water.
We
They
couldn't
didn't-
buy paint.
We couldn't buy any,
Yes.
but we couldn't, I mean, the stores were out of toilet paper, they were out of paper towels. So I told
that's true, too.
this story to Lisa. I learned, being married to a prepper.
Did you run out of toilet paper?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I learned that
I
you
had
can
5
take,
boxes.
you can take the, that's all.
No, I'm 5 boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can take the center out of a roll of toilet paper, that little toilet paper tube, and pitch it or use it for kindling or whatever else, and smush that flat and lay those in Ziploc baggies, right? And then you can pick a vacuum to it and you can suck the air out of it and you can take about 40 roll of toilet paper and make a brick.
Yes,
And
you could.
I could build a house. I had so many bricks, and I was joking with Lisa that
You'd have to go to the bathroom a lot of times in order to make the
I
house.
could wipe the butt of a small country
I'm
for a month.
just saying, to make that many bricks,
yes,
you'd have to
we
go to the bathroom a
we
lot.
had bricks. So when
Okay,
everybody
all right.
and their brother ran out of toilet paper, I had a husband who was preening we're fine. You have no problems. Like, oh my
I
God.
believe that.
So we
I
went through
believe that.
we went through a lot of the bricks. So all right, we have here, Jay, all my preps were lost in a boating accident. No, wait, that
Smart
was
man.
my weapons. Or was it my books or TP? Yeah. So anyway, so go ahead. Talk, but so
Yeah.
these disasters come in the form of COVID.
So
right?
this
Could be anything.
this expo this weekend, it's going to have a bunch of different presentations where you can take other people's. Let's say you're new to the whole thing, so you want to learn how we're doing it. So you can learn how we got started, how we're doing it, different skills that maybe you want to learn. But other things that you can do is there's going to be a bunch of exhibitors out there with tables. And each one has their own specialty. One guy's going to be like he's always there, and yet he sells the older coins because what happens if your electronic systems go down? I mean, what are you going to have of any value to be able to trade? Personally, I'm going to trade 22 shells, but whatever.
I'm going to trade toilet paper bricks.
Oh well, that'll work because I'll probably trade you for those.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot going on in a very short period of time for that expo. And so I strongly recommend, and it's, the price is high, folks. It costs you the amount of gas to get there, okay? Or if you want to buy a hot dog, it's going to cost you to buy the hot dog. But for all the training classes that are there and all the exhibitors that are there, it's free. It's free.
Oh,
it's
yeah, training classes. They have two classrooms, and they have every 45 minutes, every hour, something like that. They have rotating speakers. They'll be talking all day long and on different topics on self-defense. On one of the coolest things we ever saw was how to make a go bag. And this, Jay and I both have go bags in our car. If something ever happened, we had to get out. We have stuff that we're going to need. It is at the LESA. Building over across from the sheriff's department, right there on the corner of Grand River and Highlander Way, on the southeast corner of Highlander, Grand River and Highlander Way, right there, right across
next
Highlander
to the
Way
jail.
from the jail. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And Jay, isn't the website? Isn't it Livingston Ready?
ReadyLivingston.gov.
Is that what it is?
Or ReadyLivingston.com. Oh crap. What is it, Jay? ReadyLivingston.com. I think,
That's something.
Rob's an expert and very entertaining as a speaker. I traveled to a distant city and listened to his knowledge. I was impressed. Yes.
He did do that. He did do that.
Yeah.
I really appreciated Jay coming over there and listening to my all new jokes.
Yes.
Yes, it was very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Org. I'm sorry.
Org, okay.
ReadyLivingston.org. So you can learn all about it. They will have all kinds of exhibits. Actually, bunny seasoning will be one of the exhibitors, because if you have to get wild game, if your grocery stores are bad and you have to get wild game, you want to have something that's going to make it edible. So there you go. Bunny seasoning will be, so anybody that wants bunny seasoning can come up there and get it. But ReadyLivingston.org is the website for that. But it's not just getting ammo and getting that kind of stuff. It is learning what to have on hand and ready, just to get you by a period of an emergency, whether it is, an attack, whether it is the grid going down, whether it is, like I said, a disease that makes everybody stay in their house. Who would have ever thought of that, right?
Yeah.
Would any of us? I would have never thought that was coming. So who knows what, it could be a water, something got in the water and now the water's bad. So, these are all the things you learn at this. It's free to get in, and there's speakers all day long. You can read all about it at ReadyLivingston.org.
And you know what this event does is it causes people, it provokes them to, when they get home, to start looking at that generator that they get shoehorned in the back of it. And they're like, I wonder if this still works.
Yep.
Do I remember how to hook it up? Will it run my whole house? I mean, these are questions you got to know, because generator needs in the summer could be completely different than the generator needs that you have in the winter. So all very important things, and it causes us to start thinking about how we're going to be prepared. So you're either a victim, or you are in control of your life.
That's right.
That's right.
So, and there's all kinds of things you don't think of. I mean, you right away think food and water, right? And bathroom.
Yeah.
Those are things, but you don't
That's
think
important.
about it is.
It is really
Yeah,
important.
like I said, toilet paper bricks. I get
Toilet
it.
paper.
So,
Yeah.
but what how do you wash your clothes? How do you care for your pet?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. People always forget about their
I
pets.
know. And then
And
look at you see on
Yeah.
Facebook, you see the movies where there's these disasters and these people spend time on boats and stuff rescuing these abandoned pets.
So here's the deal. So I had my presentation all done, and I'm so proud of myself, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, look, Anna, I've got my presentation all done, and it's just wonderful. And she looks at it, and she goes through the whole thing, and she goes, "We want to rescue." I'm like, "Yes." She goes, "Where are the pets?" And I'm like, "Oh, I totally forgot about the pets." So she helped me write 2 slides on the slide
Okay.
deck that helps
All right.
talk about
Good.
what we do with pets. Yeah.
We used to have Hank Vopel, the former state representative and a veterinarian by trade. He used to talk about
He's a
ways
great
to
guy.
prepare. Oh my gosh, yes. And we used to have that, but just little things like that. And here's the other thing: how to make a plan with your family when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
You can't, phones go out or whatever. Where do you meet? Where do you go? What's your backup plan? How
Right.
do you get to? Who do you go to if you can't get to parents or your kids? Who do they go to if they can't get to you? So you gotta. They give you all these ideas and all these tips. The other thing they're giving out free are child ID kits. And so if you've got a
that's
small
very
child,
nice.
you go in there, pick up these child ID kits, and you get everything. You put the picture, you put a thumbprint in there, you put everything you could possibly have in there. Then if anything ever happens, you've got that packet to get to the police right away, so they're
Mhm.
not wasting even a second trying to help that. So
Yeah, that's a really good thing.
that's a good thing.
Another thing for any of the guys out there, it might provoke a conversation with your wife to where maybe you can get a deuce and a half. I'm this close to getting a deuce and a half, and so Anna, if you're listening, we're this close in the conversation. I'm really looking forward to getting my own deuce and a half.
What's a deuce and a half?
It's a big army truck. It's got a bunch of big wheels on it. It's a big army
okay,
truck.
all right.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Okay, get
It's
her
very
her
cool.
a pool, then you can have that, no problem.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what you do.
We can't afford it. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the ReadyLivingston.org. That's the
Yeah.
Family Readiness Emergency Expo at LESA building.
Yeah.
Jay, what are the times? Do you know what the times are? I want to say
I'm
9.
speaking at 9.
9 to
Yeah.
3, something like that.
Yeah,
That's usual.
yeah.
But go on the website there and
Yeah, it'll give you all the details,
Yep.
when it's starting and whatnot.
Yep. And come on down. It's a very interesting thing. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. As a matter of fact, it doesn't cost anything to have the vendors there either.
Yeah.
This is a community thing.
Yeah.
They may have 50/50s or that raffles, that sort of things. But you get all kinds of swag when you
Yes.
come in. We've got all kinds of organizations and companies that come to this and give away stuff. But the speakers are really the highlight. So come. What time do you speak?
9 a.m.
And the MCs are
Jason Plus.
Jason Plus, the undersheriff, and Carolyn Henry, the prosecutors, on the other side. So in the other
Oh, do we
room.
have to do it this way?
No.
This one and this one? I go like this and like this. Okay. All right. Whatever. This is
Did I
why
say I missed
this is
you?
why we
I
don't
don't
let me
know.
on the podcast very often, because we never know how it's
We
going to go.
never know what's
Yeah,
going to happen.
Yeah, it's
All right.
Mhm.
So next.
Yes.
We've covered that. We've covered that. We've covered that situation. We've
Yeah.
talked about toilet paper bricks. We have no place to go now. So let's talk about.
I have to see these toilet paper. This I'm going to build. I'm
just
going to
go
build
get-
me
just go
a
get your-
toilet paper brick.
All you
house
got to
now.
do is put this stack them on top of one
probably
another
gonna
and
be a-
suck the air out of them in those little Ziploc baggies with the little.
Jay
put
will
the
show
little
me
lid.
how it's done. That's
No,
all.
he-
He'll show me how it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
So yeah, what else we can talk
So
about?
what you have something going on September 13th.
Oh, I do. Yep. September 13th is 2A Day. For
Yeah.
those that haven't been to 2A Day before,
You're missing out.
You're missing out. So it's just a few hundred of your favorite gun-toting people. We celebrate the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Some people strap out to the gills. They wear their entire rigs, and that's pretty
Camo
cool.
and
yeah,
all
oh
that.
yeah. And then other people, we had several preachers last year strapped
Mm-hmm.
on that, wearing their firearms, and that's great. That's the idea, is that we celebrate our right to bear arms. Without that Second Amendment, we don't have the First Amendment. We don't have any.
We don't have
amendment.
any amendments.
Yeah, and in Michigan, we took a lot of hits.
Yep.
In the last couple of years. I think there's 22 different laws that were put into effect, and they really hurt the Second Amendment. And it's going to take the court system, probably, to get them rolled back. And we don't have a very sympathetic court system in Michigan. for the Second Amendment right now, and we need to work on that. We have a lot of work to do, and you know, as Republicans, we're all yay, we won in 2024, we're the best. We need to really not think about the past anymore. We need to shift gears into the future. Deb is looking at everything that's happening, and the level of involvement we have to have by the time we hit 2026 is pretty extreme. And that's only, folks, if you're used to winning. If you liked winning in 2024, then we're going to have to build this momentum up. And 2A Day is a great way of doing that. We have an amazing lineup this year.
Boy, do we.
Oh, yeah. Bob Duco is going to be there. We're going to have Bradley Dean's going to be there. We're going to have the sheriff. We're going to have the prosecutor. We're going to have most of our state reps. We would have had Mueller too, but he couldn't because he's got a prior engagement. Tom Barrett will be there. We have a bunch of people. I will be there. I might even speak, and I don't even know what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay. But we'll find out on September 13th. So if you're interested in 2A Day, if you're interested in the Second Amendment, we'd love for you to go to 2A Day. So, I mean, you can go to 2apatriot.org, and you can click on the 2A Day more information, and it will give you the info that you need to know to get into 2A Day. If you're on Facebook, you can go to 2A Day 2025 ! And you can find it there on Facebook.
We also, I remember, I'm listening to your things. We also have Judge Michael Warren that's going to be a speaker. Correct?
Oh yeah, do you remember the first time I ever met that guy? He was in one of those old Minuteman outfits. Yep. And you're like, hey, that's a judge. And I'm like, really? Yep. Yeah. And he
is one of the most interesting individuals.
Great speaker.
I like going. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to go, and I had about a 2.5 hour dinner with he and Holly Heikkinen to talk about Patriot Weekend. And boy, just listening to him talk, he's very interesting. And he's bringing, isn't he have
Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass is coming, an actor, and he's going to speak on behalf, speak as Frederick Douglass. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, not the real one.
Right. He might be a little bit.
Yeah, but the actor, and he's going to be super cool. And he's
Doug Lloyd's coming. Yeah. Doug Lloyd, the prosecutor candidate that announced here on Right Side. Yep. I think I'm speaking.
Yes,
Jay speaking. Yep. So we have all kinds of good speakers that are going to be there, and it's going to be real interesting.
We have 2 MCs. We're truly blessed on our MCs. So we got Brandon Bearfield, hilarious. I thought I was funny. Not even close to what this dude can do.
Brandon thinks on his feet.
That dude, much faster than I am. Someday when I grow up, I'm going to be him.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we also have Megan Reckling is going to be our second MC for that event. So that's going to be great. And the Lana Tice is going to be there, so we have Lana there too.
You can see it's a packed.
It's just a packed house. Gina Johnson, she'll be there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
I love her.
Great lady.
She was on the show here a few weeks ago. She was great.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got a bunch of people, a bunch of our public officials that are getting together to show you how much they support the Second Amendment. I think it's our duty to get there so that we can ask them the questions, network with them. How is it that you're going to help the Second Amendment? And also just to understand what their initiatives are going in 2026. If we don't get involved, folks, then we're gonna be waiting for somebody else to fix the problems that we know exist.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen. We have to do it ourselves. Our kids demand that we do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and it is even if you're not a person that wants to ever put a gun on your hip, that's fine. Just the fact this is about supporting the. Yeah, you have.
No, I've never met one.
So yeah, you have.
No,
so you have.
No, I haven't. It's going to be my life's mission.
I have a gun. It doesn't go on my hip. I have one.
It's my mission in life.
That's
now.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So, but even if you don't, it's just supporting the right to have it. You don't have to be a gun toter if you don't feel like it, but it's just supporting the right to have it. But it's also, it's interesting. There's great food. There's great people. All the legislators show up, all the, mostly the commissioners will come. It's your local officials. This is a place you want to be, to have good conversations, good, mostly conservative conversations as well. So come and enjoy. It's a nice day. It's usually, it's an early fall day. It's September 13th, correct? So
yes.
Does it start at noon?
It starts at noon and goes to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually run a little late,
is
but
there
not
a
too
cost
bad.
for a ticket?
There is a $15 ticket.
Okay.
A whopping $15.
$15. So
yeah.
2apatriot.org, and I think you have, Jay beat ya. Neener.
Very good question,
Very good
Mr.
question,
Drick.
Mr. Drick.
Yeah.
5 seconds too late, but so it's $15 ticket to get in, and then there are food trucks. I think there's various food trucks.
Yes.
I don't remember what there was, some barbecue thing there.
Barbecue,
I
think, and we're hoping that we're going to get a ice cream truck too. So that'll be nice too. It's fall, so I can eat ice cream again. So
that's
good.
right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so. Yeah, it is. It's a great time. I go every year, and it's over at Mary Healthman's.
Hey,
is it not?
who's singing the anthem? I forgot. Who is that?
I don't remember. Somebody.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, I'll be singing the anthem there that day. So that's good. So we're going to be at Mary Healthman's for those of you who on
in Fowlerville.
What's the name
by
of the road?
Park.
What's the name of that main drag? Is it Main?
It's called Grand.
Grand. That's it. Grand. It's north off of Grand River on Grand, and you'll see 1,100 signs. It's on the west side of the road, or maybe a mile down.
Yeah.
And it's a nice farm, and it's you want to do a duet? All right, Lisa, let's rehearse.
All right.
So we'll
awesome.
but it's a great opportunity. It's great fun.
Yeah.
It's great people, and it's fun watching Rob run around in a Screaming Green. Are you wearing Screaming Green again?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Screaming Green is.
I was going to do that or a loincloth, but Anna says I have to wear. Anna says I have to wear the green shirt. Again.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, okay. So we have here. So proud that the Healthmans host this. Yes.
Yes.
They're wonderful.
Amazing
people, the Healthmans, Gary and Mary. So, they're just terrific people, and we're very, very fortunate in Livingston County to have them doing stuff like this. So, all right. Anything else you want to tell us? Anything else cool? Something you've seen? Something you've done? Something you want to do?
I really liked what I heard Tom Leonard say today.
Yeah, he had some good answers to some things.
Yep.
I like the solutions focus. That is, it's.
You know what
You've heard me say it a million times. No fault, no blame. Just focus on fixing it.
So Angela had the question about abortion, and I heard how you answered it. But I loved how Tom came out and said, regardless, I'm pro-life.
That's right.
So he didn't have to, he didn't have to take that hit.
Right.
Okay, but he did. He went out there and he owned it.
Yep.
And that's awesome. As a Christian, as a pro-lifer, I love to hear that. That when people make that acknowledgement, especially when they're running for an office that's so encompasses so many people.
Sure. Well,
and then Dungan.
Duggan, yeah.
Dungan.
Dungan. No, we don't say that.
Dungan. Yes, that's how I say it. So see, the problem with him is that Detroit. Can I say shit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Detroit's not real cool. Okay, it's not a great place, and I can say that because I was just in Detroit. Somebody told me Detroit's totally different now. It's really
there's
great.
like a few square blocks downtown.
There is three square blocks
Yep.
that is just awesome.
Yep.
But if anybody doubts me that Detroit isn't non-awesome, okay, then just go over to Zillow and start pricing out houses. They have them for $15,000 at a time where our housing market is just inflated beyond belief.
Yep.
They're selling homes for $15,000.
Yeah.
If it was so wonderful,
It
it wouldn't be like that.
They wouldn't be 15,000.
So we're sitting here watching our shows at night, and we're watching this Dungan. Mike Dungan has made the community so much better, and it's just a great. No, it's not. Okay, the real Dungan. he supports everything that the left has ever
he
done.
endorsed Whitmer. He endorsed Biden.
The only reason why he's running as an independent is because he can't beat the Democrat in a primary. That's the only reason why he's running as an independent. And he thinks he's going to steal some Republicans. Now, it's
as of right now, he will. But well, hopefully it's our job to educate them. We have to wake up. Yes, we have to get them woke up.
We have to wake up because that's a big scare. Yep. Okay. You know, when we look at our governor's race last time around, we needed money. Yep. We needed votes. But what we didn't get was either. Mm-hmm. And we need those things. We need those things in order to win. Yep. Tudor Dixon, whether you thought she was the right person or not, she didn't have the money to win that spot. And the way that our primaries are so broken up, where we have 15 people running up until a couple of months before, how are we all supposed to be unified by the time that election actually happens? We need to start, as Republicans, we need to start thinking about how we're going to behave after that primary is done. It's great that we have a winning horse. Right. But we have to decide how we're going to behave after that primary is done. Are we going to rally behind?
I don't see it this year. I don't see the fighting that I saw before. I see there's some diehard Tom supporters. I see diehard John James. I see diehard Reinke that people are anticipating his weekend announcement. Yep. I've seen people, diehard for Mike Cox. So, but I don't see them beating on each other. I've yet to see one beat on the other, and that is good. That is the best I've seen it so far. Now, will it stay that way? We can only cross. So I am challenging everybody watching this, or everybody that's going to watch it this week. Hold these people accountable. If you start to see them or start to hear them ragging on each other, stop them. You're going to lose my vote if you don't knock it off. You've got to stay quiet. Talk about why you want to be elected, but we cannot beat each other up. We need this so badly. Yeah. And every one of those candidates out there.
You're making me dizzy with all this.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every one of these candidates out there need to make sure that they are absolutely on board the day after the primary. We didn't get the results we were, but I am behind this winner 100%, no matter who it is. So we've just got to go that route. Everybody, I don't want to hear any, and anybody that starts with the sour grapes or, well, I didn't have any money, or the rhinos, the blah, 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 shut them down. Just shut them down. Don't give them an audience. Yeah. It just, we cannot have that. We cannot have that ever again. So this is the year that I've said it right from day one. The very first things I said was, everybody is welcome at the table. Everybody has a seat at the table. Leave your drama at the door. I've said that over and over, and so far it's happened. But every one of you other chairs out there and everybody else in their party, you've got to be saying the same thing. Leave your drama at the door.
Flash chair challenge. That's what this is right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, how can you try to tell Michigan that you're the best candidate, but the only way that you can do that is by telling everybody how bad somebody else is? That doesn't sell me. It doesn't sell
I've worked
Michigan.
Elections so many years, and negative campaigning just backfires. They don't see that. Work. It just screams, I don't have enough about me to tell you I got to go cut somebody else down. So no, just don't do that.
I got a challenge for the candidates.
Okay.
Everybody throw something at the other side. At the Democratic Party, throw something out there at the Democratic Party. Something's going to stick, and then everybody can pounce on that.
That's right.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I said, you fight for yourself. Talk about yourself. Talk about your challenges. But come August, whatever, the day after that primary, have your pity party for a little while, but get right behind that winner. And we just have to do it. That's just how. And you know what? If you don't do that, then please don't ever run for anything again, because people are going to watch it. So
it sucks to lose.
It does. It stinks. We've all done it.
But your character is shown in defeat the best.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen some people lose handily, and the way that they reacted towards that loss, they gained my admiration.
Yep.
So I mean that's huge.
Sure.
And then the last thing, I know you got to go, but the last thing I want to talk about is that Americans for Citizen Voting.
Citizen only
I can
voting.
say it. I can say
no,
citizen vote.
Citizen only voting.
Yeah, citizen only voting.
Yes.
Or is it vote? It's citizen only vote.
Citizen only vote.
Yeah, that's the website. Very catchy. I like it. The message is good. I think everybody should get involved. And what I really like about it is that it looks like it might be kind of a grassroots thing that is it, and we've got a lot of people behind it. Not just Livingston County. Lots of counties are behind it.
No, both Democrats are behind it too.
Well,
a lot of them.
Everybody should be behind it.
They should be.
I mean, we worked. Okay, so if there's any immigrants that are watching the podcast, you worked your butt off to become an American citizen. You should want that you earned that right.
That's right.
All of us that are citizens by birth, we technically earned that right. We have, this is something that is ours to choose from. And if we don't narrow this in, I had somebody tell us just the other day, well, it's already in the Constitution.
Oh, I've had 10 people tell me that.
Well, that's not true, because as soon as we passed the prop last time around, it muddied the waters so bad. Now I can say I'm Bob Dole. And I can, as long as I sign, then I'm Bob Dole.
And that's what it is. It does say in the Constitution that you have to be a citizen to vote, but they're not mandating ID.
No.
This is why they call it cheating.
Yeah.
It's because if you don't mandate ID, it's too easy to cheat. Now go back to the Chinese student that got caught because the Chinese student, for whatever reasons, it is assumed they got worried to get in trouble. They went back and asked for their ballot back, and that kind of struck people funny. So they looked into it. The big
but
question how many didn't go back and ask for their ballot?
Exactly.
Somebody asked that the other day. Well, is it a really big problem? How do you prove a negative? You can't.
You can't.
You can't prove that negative. How many didn't go back? So here's the thing. Let's just not worry about how many did or didn't. Let's just make sure it doesn't, again,
well, if it didn't happen much, then it shouldn't be a problem for us to pass.
That's right.
Okay.
It's really not a big deal. So, but you get the Democrat chant, which is always, well, that just makes it harder to vote. No, it doesn't, because the people that vote, somewhere along the line, they got a car, right? They drive a car, most of them. That takes ID. You got insurance. That takes ID. You got a bank account. That takes ID. You want to buy a phone. That takes ID. You have to open up a bank account, to go travel, to do anything. You got to have ID. Voting should not be. It's not a burden to have ID, and that's just foolish talk. So.
And then the last thing I want to talk about?
Well, I want to make sure we tell people again.
Oh, that's good.
This Thursday, 2 days from now, right here at the Victory Center from 6:30 to 8, we'll have an open house with citizen-only voting petitions. Megan's company is bringing pizza, and they're going to have pizza here for everybody. So come on down, have pizza, have a pop or whatever, and sign a petition. And if you want to take a petition with you, we'll give you a petition. Even if you don't get all 25, just go home and have your family members, your neighbors, and fill out 10 of them, 15 of them that all count, and then we'll come get it from you. So. And
Victory Field Operations,
yes,
they are looking for volunteers for the different events that they're going to. So please,
Megan
folks,
was on,
engage them and help them out. I mean, it doesn't take much. You can sit at a table, get some signatures.
Yep, Megan was on here last week, and she did a great job of saying what she needed. So she's always looking for volunteers. So, but you can talk about that when you're here. If you have any question, once again, Tyler already typed it, so I won't make him type it again. I just got to go find it. You can email me at chair@livingstonrepublicans.com, and I will make sure I get back with you or whatever. If you want to come out here you want to come out here Thursday, it's 2 days from now, and we may be doing another one. But like I said, you want to just come out and sign, have a piece of pizza, and say hello. I'm good with that. You want to take a petition or two home with you or to work or whatever, good with that too. So however you want to do it, but ask your questions.
So the last thing I have is directed at teachers in Michigan.
Okay.
I understand that the teachers union is really, really working hard. They're doing a full court press to make sure that you stay within the Democratic Party. I'm not asking you to change parties. What I am asking you to do is look at the Republican platform and understand what the Republican platform stands for, and decide for yourself, not letting the union decide for you. Decide for yourself what's best for you in Michigan, and make your vote count. That's my last.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, I appreciate everybody coming in. We had a great show tonight. Tom did a great job. Rob did a great job. So we have the events coming up. Would be Thursday, the citizen only vote petition here. Saturday at
21st.
LES. Yes, Saturday at LESA, the 23rd. Is the Family Readiness Expo.
Yeah.
And then next Thursday at 6 o'clock for dinner, 7 for beverages, is at Bliss and Fish in Pinckney. That's the Republican Social. You should let me know you're coming just so we can make sure we have enough room. Once again, share at republicans.com. And then it's September 13th. We have
288.
We have 288. September 17th, we have Mr. Tom Leonard right back here at an open house. Come on and meet and greet him.
September 11th.
Oh, September 11th. That is
Yes.
Patriot Week.
Yeah, that is the
we're gonna have
creme de la croix.
Yes. I might have somebody on here real before too long. I might get the judge out here to talk about
Get him in
that.
his little suit thing.
I know
That
his
was
little
so
minute
awesome.
I know. He is so interesting. I could just sit and listen to him all night. So Patriot Week is something else you're going to want to hit. September 11th at Oak Point. Most of these events are published on the Livingston County Republican Party website. We have two just to clear this up, we have two Livingston County Republican
One's a
Party.
page.
One's a page, one's a group.
Yeah.
The page is public. Anybody can go on there and, you know,
Right.
how we post that stuff.
Yeah.
Then there's Livingston
Republicans.
Republicans official,
Yeah.
in parentheses, official. That's the group. That's a private thing. You have to apply, but if you're a conservative, we'll figure it out. We'll let you in. But that's where that you can have some very quiet talks there. But on those pages are where you can find. If you don't want to join that group, that's fine. Go to the public page, Livingston County Republican Party, and you'll see all the postings. I make flyers for everything that we do here. So
one last thing. So let's just say
because I got one last thing after you go.
Well, no, mine's the last. So okay, so if you like the Republican platform, you like what happened in 2024, and you want to see the same kind of changes happen again, then I challenge you to open your checkbook, write a check to the Republican Party and the local Republican Party and the state party, should you want to. They're doing a great job too. But the first thing we need to do is we need to get our local candidates elected.
Yep.
That's what we have to do first. The second thing we have to do is we have to get our state candidates and then our national candidates. But we can't do it. I mean, Deb's a miracle worker, but she can't do it without your money. And since you're hanging on to your money, you need to open it up. Not write her personally a check, but write the Republican Party a check, send it in, become a member. You know, show us the support that we know that you have for
Show
us.
us the support. If you show us the support, we can then turn around and share that support with the candidates.
Yeah.
And we work very, very hard for our candidates. We organize walk days. We create lit bags. We have volunteers here that stuff lit bags, and then we have people that go to knock on doors. We organize all that. We have to have pizza parties and things like that for stuffing these things.
Center.
We have this victory center. We have the equipment for the podcast. We have to pay for the podcast. So there's, but mostly we also do mailings and funding of candidates getting elected. That is where that money goes. And we are true conservatives when it comes to, we don't spend money lightly. We don't go on lavish trips or take, have big fancy dinners on the donor's dime. I'm very, very stingy with that money. It sits in that bank account and it's waiting till next year because we've got candidates to get elected and they're going to need money. Michigan is the number one state in the union that the Dems are going to fight for. We are their battleground.
A lot of Democrat money coming.
A lot of it coming into the state. And we will put together some teams for walking and things, but our local people are just as important, if sometimes some would say more important than your statewide people, your senators and things. I mean, that's great to have, and yes, but if you live in a township with a bunch of Dems making your ordinances. Having a Republican U.S. senator would be good for that, but it's not going to help you. It's going to and making your life miserable every day. We take care of that. That's where we are. We're on the ground. We work all the way up to the congressman, and we help them. But it takes money to do that. We have to do our mailings. I mean, postage and cards, and we do a mailing, a member list where we send out to all the households. These are the candidates that are our members, and you need to know who are our members, because these are the people that put in the time, the effort, and the money to making the Republicans, party a better place. So these things take money, and so we're not, if you can write a check and not be a member, then we can ask you. You can do that. That's livingstonrepublicans.com. You can just go there, but there's a spot to donate, but there's also a spot to become a member, and there's various levels, and we just ask you to go to the best one you can afford, and that will help us a great deal.
Every dollar counts.
Every dollar. Last thing is, once again, we have a secretary position open. It's a board position. You will work very closely with me, but mostly your job will be record keeping, and then you and I, you'll be part of the brainstorming team as far as creating opportunities or solving problems or whatnot, but mostly it's record.
Are they taking
keeping.
a position that they're on their own? I mean, they're just going to be thrown into the wolves, or are they going to get some leadership to help them learn this position?
Nobody in my team gets thrown to the wolves. Never. We work.
Good.
We are a team.
Good.
We support each other. We help each other. Nobody will be thrown into something that they can't handle. I meet with my team on a regular basis, whether I'm over Sharon Stanton's house helping her with a flyer issue she's having, to having breakfast with Joni trying to brainstorm ways to find new volunteers. I don't ever let my team will tell you, ask him. I never let them flounder. If they're having an issue, we'll work through it, and I always put people in a good place. I can't afford to let it fail, so I don't micromanage ever. So if you've got, if this is your job and you know what you're doing, then you do it. If you want to spend money, you got to come talk to me. But if you're just doing your job, you want to do it different, it's good for me to know. But my team will tell you, I'm not micromanaging. That's your call. That's your call to do. It's your call to do. It's your call to do. That's the way I do it. But yes, for the secretary, no, anybody on my team, my volunteer, my membership, we need a secretary.
Okay.
So come on board. You'll be joining a great team of people. We have a good time, and is it work? It's a little work, but how much work is it when you end up loving it? Right?
They get paid with hugs. So
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Lots of hugs, and sometimes bunny season gets
there. You go.
That's gold right there.
Yes,
So,
it is.
all right. Well, we're gonna go. Thanks for joining in. This was a great night to have. So watch for us next week. We will be back here at 7:00 next Tuesday. Hope to see you at these events this week. See you later.
Bye, everybody.